All right, good people. Welcome to another episode of Manage the Mental. I'm EJ. I'm 50% of a duo that's going to give you 100% of what I do know and what we do know, I should say. And I hope that's enough. I'm privileged you all to be able to have the best co-host in the world, which is
What's going on, y'all? My name is Terrence Stewart, licensed therapist, and I'm accompanied by EJ, the world-renowned EJ, top therapist in multiple states. Most definitely, man. We got a topic today, man. I'm not sure if y'all heard about it, but you want to give them an intro or what you thinking?
yeah. So there's a bell to bell bill, I believe, in the state of Georgia that they're talking about getting passed through. And essentially what it is from the start of school, kids cannot have their cell phones all the way, until the final bell rings. So from the first bell to the end bell, kids could not have cell phones. And it's brought up a lot of controversy because on one side, you have the idea that kids not having these cell phones is going to be able to enhance their focus, which will be able to maybe increase their academic performance. There's been a lot of school districts from sea to shining sea that have seen major declines when it comes to test scores and things like that. And a lot of the administration from various school districts, they pretty much put a lot of that on the fact that many of the kids are distracted because now that they have these devices that they hold in their hands, and they're not just using them to call, a parent or anything like that, but they're literally scrolling on social media all day, that type of stuff. They also believe that a lot of cyberbullying obviously can happen usually during school hours. And so they want to get rid of that. They believe that it's going to be able to teach kids to socialize even more and increase their social skills, get it to an appropriate age where kids aren't just more or less comfortable just staring at a phone all day. Instead, they will talk to their peers, interact with their peers in a good way. However, the opposite side of that, and this is kind of like where we come into, because our number one thing in our profession is essentially safety first. So if we were to look at this bill like we would a client, this bill to bill, I mean, this bell to bell bill, if we were to look at it as a client, the number one thing that we're going to do upon intake is really assess for safety. Now,
Hmm.
with this thing, what could possibly go wrong if you implement this bell to bell bill? What could possibly go wrong? Well, ladies and gentlemen, we live in 2026. Is not breaking news at all that unfortunately in the United States of America we have more school shootings than the law should allow. Definitely, one school shooting is one too many, and because of that, it is a these cell phones are safety apparatuses. So if something is going on in the school, if there's an emergency going on in the school, it's not like how it was, say, when we were growing up. We used to have these little pay phones. Any kids listen to this, believe it or not, we used to have to take a quarter and put it in a machine, this little box, and you pick up the phone and then you had to call. And if you ain't had no quarter, you wouldn't calling nobody, right? So, but now because cell phones has become very, very convenient with all this different things emergencies that take place, unfortunately, at some schools where kids are able to talk to their parents. Hey, mom, this is what's going on. Dad, this is what's going on. And so it's a safety factor and it's a convenience factor. So it's a lot, T. What are your thoughts on it? What are you thinking about
That's
when you hear
that's
about
that's all. I agree with all that. I think the biggest thing is again like assessing what would be the worst case scenario. Like what would happen if this was to go by, right? Because from what I'm reading right here, it says the Georgia State Senate bill. They're trying to pass the bill to seek that bell to bell in public schools, but lawmakers are arguing that it will improve the mental health and reduce classroom disruptions, while some students and parents contend that the phones are vital lifelines during emergencies, right? So I think this is a situation where, yes, it may make sense. Like we thinking about the mental health of the children. Like, what does that all imply when they're using cell phones in schools and things of that nature? And how are they able to uh, better focus if the cell phones weren't there? But yet at the same time, is it that drastic to where now cell phones aren't being used as a distraction, but actually being used as a form of communication during a crisis? So if there's like a point where they can't use their cell phones or cell phones are taken away, however they're going to do it, I'm not sure however they plan to do it, but what does that look like if they're not able to communicate during a crisis? And again, we know how school shootings go, or we know how these situations go where there's a lot more of them than when I was in school, or possibly when you was in school as well too. That wasn't a frequent thing. I think the biggest one when I was in school was Sandy Hook, and I think that was like one of the main ones. And I think that was while I was in high school or maybe middle school. Like that was the first time like we that was like the big one everybody talked about. Um, outside of, just a sidebar, like, drive-by shootings at school are considered school shootings, but that's a whole story for another whole episode of like what's classified as being a school shooting. Um, but what happens during those times of that, the bell to bell, like during those times of folks not being able to use their cell phones, is what happens if there's a crisis? What happens if there's something that goes on? And I think I'm not sure what your thoughts about it, but I feel as if the the risk doesn't outweigh the benefit with this, in my opinion. Granted, I am for improving mental health in the school. I am for improving or reducing the classroom disruptions and things of that nature. Again, I don't work in a classroom as of right now. I don't know what that dynamic looks like. If you guys are watching, you guys are commenting, you guys maybe can give some input on what that dynamic looks like. Maybe teachers or folks that's in the mental health space that work at schools. But I do feel as if the classroom disruptions, there can be, I guess, a better outline of like what does that look like outside of taking away the cell phones in total. Is there a point where, you know, I don't know, there has to be some type of other intervention done because the classroom disruptions in the mental health isn't just solely based on a cell phone, in my opinion.
No, no, it's not. And going just piggybacking off what both of you, what you and I both agree on, is that it is a safety thing. Now, one of the things outside of just safety, T, we also have to understand that a lot of these kids, everybody is not part of a prestigious, say, school district, right? For kids that are in public schools. And I want to say that for private schools, they kind of run their own show, I believe. And I don't
You talking about
quote
like
me
for
on that.
cell phone use and stuff like
Yeah,
that?
they run their own
Yeah,
show.
it
Private
goes
schools
based
run
off
their
what the
own show.
parents
So
think.
this is about right.
Yeah.
This is about um public schools, which we have to be honest, there are a lot of students that attend these public schools that come from marginalized communities. And as a result, the school may not even have many resources. And so for a lot of these kids, their phones essentially are their laptops at the same time. So when they need to do something, when they need to research something, when they need to read something, they may not have access to a laptop. They may not have access to a computer lab. So their phones are, what they depend on. And so that's another, aspect that has to be thrown in the mix as well. But going back to the safety thing and not never to try to sound morbid or anything like that, but
You
we
know?
got to also realize that in 2026, way the internet works, you remove cell phones, you say to anybody, you say to the world, okay, here in the state of Georgia, we are going to make sure that kids do not have access to their cell phones from 8 a.m. to maybe 3 p.m., whatever the bell to bell is. Well, what that's gonna do is that's gonna get the attention of potentially a would-be terrorist or anything like that, and they're gonna say, "Oh, man, this is
Mm,
this these are this it's a whole
easy
school
money.
of sitting ducks. This is easy."
Mm, I didn't think
By the
about that.
time they even able to get to the phone, so now we go from only say if it's a school of student body of 3,000. Now, instead of, you know, uh, maybe 2,000 people having access to phones to call, all those, you decrease that a whole lot. And now it's only the faculty.
Mhm,
If they can, and that's even if they can get access to a phone to call for emergencies and stuff like that. So that
mhm,
part within itself, which again, safety first. I don't think that that's fair to the student, and I don't think it's fair to the parent. Now, however, I wish and all the things like we didn't be we've been able to put people on the moon. We've been able to, put people all over the world. We've got to
mhm,
be able to come up with some type of software that may be at the school on school grounds where certain things are blocked. Certain social media sites are maybe blocked or something like that. Maybe, and I think that that's a good compromise. So
mhm.
kids aren't scrolling social media all day and just, because let's be honest. I mean, even for adults, your phone can be a major distraction. And so I would assume if adults struggle with being distracted with a phone, I know kids do, especially
Yeah,
especially in the school setting. So what
yeah.
can be implemented? What's a great compromise where maybe they can put, I don't, is it a firewall or something? What is that, T? My tech game is
No, 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 you're right. There's like, there's certain, like, firewalls or certain, things where you have parameters around, like, cell phone use, but usually, like, even firewalls and things of that nature, it eliminates, like, the service overall, so it's just like as if you don't have a cell phone either.
mm,
There's been a lot of, and even on a side note, there's been a lot of, people that's been experiencing, like, these, and it used to be, like, in sci-fi movies, bro. It used to be, like, these, like, you press a button or you have a device that shuts down all the Wi-Fi or all the internet access temporarily for a moment, and people are using these, and this happens to my sister-in-law, not too long ago, where she had got a car stolen, and what they did was they pressed, like, a button, and all the Ring cameras or all the devices, the Wi-Fi shut down temporarily until they, was able to, like, take the car. And it's crazy because, even with that type of technology, and this is just, I guess, a side note and a tangent, was even if there were, people were able to do that or have these firewalls, it still eliminates the access to those emergency services. So, people are getting very smart and creative too. I think if
yeah,
anything, there has to be if that's the argument, because this isn't put into law just as of yet. This is like a bill that they're proposing. I think the effort has to be more towards, like, precaution and what to do around the school shooting. Like, what type of emergency service? Is there like a satellite phone thing they can use? Because people at some point in time, people's gonna be able to shut down a whole school system's lifeline. And
yes,
you know what I mean? Like, that's, and sometimes it looks like, sound like I have a tinfoil hat on, but, like, that's where we're going, because we're looking at all, because even I'm seeing, like, all these sci-fi movies, and they're starting to play out in real life. It's like, what can you do so that you can outsmart somebody or outwit somebody that is looking to do some type of heinous crime like that? Because, yeah, if we get shut down, you say, okay, no cell phones, they can use a cell phone, but, if you think beyond that, what else can they do, to make sure that the cell phones across the board around the half a mile radius don't work? You got what I'm saying?
yeah,
So
yeah, and that's
there's
real.
a lot.
That's that real terrorism. Those are
Yeah,
parts of
yeah.
that people don't even think about. Those
Right, right.
cyber attacks like that can just really cut everything off.
Mhm.
Um,
But even
going
just to
back,
bring oh, yeah, yeah, I was to say, just to bring it back, like, that it's important that there's some type of communication during those emergencies for sure.
yeah, and I think a good compromise, man. I think just like any relationship, man, whether it be professional or personal. With this, the relationship is obviously between the school district and the students. I think even then, compromise is always appropriate.
Mhm,
Compromise, man. So maybe instead of just banning it altogether, I think for certain classes, kids should be able to use them for educational purposes. I think maybe an hour, maybe or 30 minutes throughout the school day, kids may be able to have access to it maybe during break or whatever the case is. And then I think they need to invest in a system where, in the event there is an emergency, um, the number one thing that occurs, along with, I guess, calling for, assistance, is cutting on whatever switch. So now everybody that does have cell phones now also has Wi-Fi.
Mhm,
So to the state of Georgia, you don't want you don't want to get this wrong.
mhm,
You don't want to get this wrong, because anytime this makes national news like this, you got to think about would be people that want to cause harm, that
mhm.
enjoy thriving in chaos, that see this as like, oh, again, these are a bunch of sitting ducks. We
Yep.
can really get a message across, especially in this day and age right now, where clearly we have a lot of things going on in the world, and it's a lot of people that aren't happy with the United States. You know what I'm saying? So it's just it's a lot, including some of its own citizens. So you just don't,
Mhm.
and we don't wish that on anybody, but I'm just saying you don't want to be that vulnerable, and particularly in announcing that you're going to be that vulnerable. So you don't wanna, you know what I'm saying? You don't wanna just cut communication like that. I think the approach and the ability to compromise should be there, and I think it will be the most effective route. But if there is no compromise, then it gotta be safety first.
Mandatory, mandatory, and that's something that we don't even think about, when it comes to stuff like that as safety first, right? We're thinking about prolonging, um, conflict, or she not prolonging, we're trying to think about how to eliminate conflict, mental health, which, all those things are important to you, right? But it really comes down to, like, safety. Like, is this the safest thing that we should be doing? Should
Mhm.
we, or is there a compromise, right? Is there a way that we can make sure that we are investing in the mental health of our children, and make sure there isn't that much disruptions in the classroom, at the same at the same time we're not compromising the safety, right? And I
Right.
think this is where I don't feel it's like a lot of institutions get really creative, because a lot of things are rigid, such as public school, because we're talking about essentially a government institution. Like, this is the state of Georgia implementing this in the public school. So sometimes it's really rigid. There's not like a lot of room for creativity, right? And even to your point before, is like this is a public school matter, right? Like, private schools may have their own system. Um, homeschooling really may not have to really worry about systems like this at all. So I think it does come to a point where there has to be some type of creative measure done, so that both can get accomplished in the same manner, without compromising too much of the safety, for sure.
Indeed, indeed. And I think it ultimately comes down to the people in the state of Georgia who are trying to, obviously get this bill put into place, is they really need to assess, number one, what could go wrong. That's the number one thing. Also assess what could go right if you implement this, but please understand what could go wrong. And when you're able to focus on what could go wrong, you're going to be able to really, really hone in on possibility and probability, and understanding the difference in those two, but also how they both are very much important when measuring what could go wrong and what could go right. In other words, understanding, with possibility, whether something can happen or not, indicating the potential, for that type of negative event to
Mhm.
occur, versus the probability is the measure of and the likelihood of the actual event occurring. And it can kind of, you look at the data in which probability often will allow you to quantify the chance of an event happening. So again, in this day and age where we have so many different things going on, and a lot of people aren't happy with America, in particular a lot of its own citizens, you don't want to make our most vulnerable, you don't want to put a bigger target on them than necessary. Not having access to communication is a form of terror all in itself.
Truth. Yep.
So we got to be mindful of that.
1000%, man. I want to most definitely open it up to people that are listening. You guys like have any thoughts, any feelings about this topic? This is a lot of the sources coming from Atlanta News, Fox 5, social media posts. I think you guys sent a social media post, but I don't think I know you. You said the social media post about this, and that's kind of how we started talking about it. But I most definitely, we most definitely want to hear from y'all. What are you guys' thoughts on this topic? Because I think this is something that is eventually going to get passed or it's going to get rejected, but it is proposed right now. So we're going to most definitely try to over time see what actually happens with this. And this somehow was reported yesterday. So this is not something that's been going on for a long time at all. Any other thoughts around this, E?
No, 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 no. It's just good to kind of talk about it a little bit and then understand perspective. And also for the listening audience, we encourage you all any questions or any responses that you have to it. We want to be able to take that. And of course, we'll more than willing to talk even more about it. If we've said anything where somebody's like, I don't necessarily agree with that, or I don't know, well, what about this? Yeah, bring it to the table. We
Mm-hmm.
let her have dialogue.
Talk about it. We can talk about it. All right. So we have entered the part of the show, the latter part of the show, which E and I call the dry down. So E and
Dry
I have
down,
this
baby.
segment, the dry down. So this is on the segment towards the end of our episode where we get to share our passion for fragrances. One of the things that brought E and I together randomly was this passion for fragrances. So E's been bringing some hitters. It's my turn today. It's my turn to burn. And I have this one. I don't think should I have you guess it? You want to guess? I don't think you'll get it if I
It's
guess it though.
springtime. We're moving into the springtime.
Yeah.
Uh, for the listening audience out there, T really, really got me into understanding perfumers, not just fragrances, but the actual noses behind it. And I think we share in common. Both of us have our favorite perfumer, I believe, is Quinton Beach.
You already
So
know.
so I
Already.
think you probably got Boyce Imperial today because
You know what? I'm gonna give a short story about Boys Imperial. So I shared Boys Imperial already though.
you did.
I,
No,
I
no, and I
shared
forgot you were getting another one, but you told me about
Man, so I
something
got it
happened
from
overseas.
Canada. It's sold out in the States right now. This next one I'm about to show is sold out as well. But it's sold out in the States, man, and it didn't make it past the border. It got sent.
Wow,
So they have the reach of 150 mil. It got
that's right.
sent
That's
back.
right.
Yeah, it got sent back, and I was like, but they just refunded me my bread. Like on Friday, Thursday or Friday. Yeah, yeah, I was sad about that. I was like, man, because it's warming up. That was my one, but this one I have here, it's been sitting for a while, bro. And I didn't initially like it at first. Sprayed it on, and I was like, I don't really, it's cool, whatever. But for whatever reason, once it started warming up, I was like, oh, this is a hit. And this one's a compliment getter, bro. Um, yeah, this one's a compliment getter. Every time I wear it, I got a compliment. I put this on like 7:30 in the morning. One day I put it at 7:30 in the morning, and I got a compliment, and it was like 1 in the morning because I picked up my girlfriend from the B2K or Boys Boys for Life tour concert. We went to go get something to eat. Her and one of our other friends, and the waitress up there, the bartender, whatever, she was like, "Man, you smell really good." And I was like, "I sprayed this on like
Mm.
7:30 a.m." Bro, this is one of the ones you got to get your hands
Bro,
on. Oh, Satani by Arabian
Sultani.
Oud.
Yes, sir. Yes,
This one
sir.
right here, Satani by Arabian Oud,
Yes.
is insanely amazing. The thing with this is the issue with this is the only issue I have with this is that you wearing it, you will go nose blind to it,
Yes.
but nobody else will. And that's the crazy part because when I was like, I don't smell no more. It's not lasting any long. But this dent is like over the past 2 weeks.
I believe it.
Uh,
Yeah. Sultani is one of them. I keep a
yeah.
decan of it in the car.
Okay, yeah, so
Yeah, I keep a
Tiny by
decant of
Arabian
it
Oud.
of it in a car, and I did not. You know what? I had got a decant recently of it, and I did not realize. I knew obviously, we have a whole group, guys listening, and it's a whole crew of us that are enthu- fragrance enthusiasts, right? So when I was looking at it, I didn't even think to see if you had it because I know you T also kind of put me on a lot of the Arabian fragrances, getting my kind of shifting my palate a little bit. So I didn't know you had that, but yeah, I like Satani. Satani is nice, and you can just put it on and it's gonna do what it do. It's gonna handle its candle for sure.
1,000%. And I like the Middle Eastern, man. Like some of the ones I might bring out more like Middle Eastern fragrances, Middle Eastern houses. Like Swiss Arabian's one of them ones that's really good. Even though they get like kind of like that dupe. They're not a dupe house, but they get categorized into like the Latafas and all those ones. But Swiss Arabian is actually a really good house. But the Arabian Oud is one of my favorite
Yeah,
houses from a Middle East fragrance. They have one out here in Houston that's in the Galleria Mall, but I think that's the only one in the United States, the actual store. And this is where I got this at. Um, was an actual store. But I was sitting on this for a minute. I bought this like back in, I think I bought that back in like October. And now we're in March right now, or going into April.
and you
Yeah,
letting
and I
it, you
started.
blitzing, you letting it go. Just
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah. I gotta get a second bottle. I was looking on the Rescented app and I was like, oh, I gotta get another bottle. As soon as somebody posts another one, I gotta get that for sure. But yeah, Sultani by Arabian Oud, one of them ones I didn't like before, but I think because of the elements and the weather and things of that nature. But now,
changes. And you're in a place where that
even pro.
humidity cracks a little bit, and so it complements that well. But 7 a.m. to one
Mhm.
a.m. is
Seven, bro,
crazy. That's
7
what is
in the
that? An
morning.
18 piece?
I spray. You say that again?
Is that like 18 hours almost?
Yeah, for sure. But if you spray this like on your clothes the next day, you're gonna smell it in your laundry. Like I spray this and then I'll sit in my car. I'll spray this. I'll drive somewhere and like I come back, the car smells all like this. But bro, this is like if folks are like getting into it, let me back up. If folks want like that imagination or want that something that nobody else is wearing, because I know imagination is one of those ones
It's
that's like
popular now.
is popular, or like a YSL that's very popular. This one right here, every time I every time I wear it, somebody says something about it. Every time I wear it. Like I was at Joey Uptown, somebody had said it, gave me a compliment. I put that on. I had just put that on like couple hours ago. Um, Compliment magnet is worth the money. I know it's kind of up there mid. It's not in that amouage area, but it's not in that designer as
No,
low as like a
what
regular
are you about
designer.
200?
Yeah, so I got this on a like a sale. So the actual store is having like it was either you buy this one or you pay like $25 less for like the 50 ml. And I think this was like close to two, but I think it's retailing around like a little bit over two. But I bought it for the low for sure. But it's
Yeah,
worth
man.
it's
Nobody
most
had it
definitely worth
because
it.
I had seen a cat talking about it, and I was like, man, people keep on talking about Saltani. Let me
Hmm.
see what this is about. No, I had to get it from a decant. I think from a cat like out in Puerto Rico, bro. Like nobody had it, and I was like, I ain't want to just blitz and get the and just get a whole thing blind by. I've learned throughout this journey. Don't just like, hey, that if you want to you blind by certain things, you're just gonna end up giving it away. So, I got that and I was like, okay, Sultani, nice.
Nah, super
Beautiful
nice.
fragrance, bro.
Yeah, super nice. Yeah, the gardeners are out here now. They hella loud out here. I don't know if you hear it. I don't know if you can hear it.
Yeah, they're doing their thing, man. It's all
I'm
good.
like, man, I'm on the top floor. So I know we're gonna wrap it up in a minute, man. We appreciate y'all for tapping in. Make sure you guys like, share, subscribe to all the great things. Keep these videos rocking and rolling. Until next time, you guys take care of yourselves and take care of each other. And we are Manage the Mental.
Peace.
All right. Peace.